Chosen one, June 1st could be the day. Listen this carefully. You don't know how to explain it. But something about June 1st feels different. Like the wind knows a secret. Like time has been waiting for you. It's not just a day on the calendar. It's a door, a pulse, a whisper from the unseen, saying, "Chosen one, get ready." Sometimes a date on the calendar isn't just another day. It's a signal from the divine, a pinpoint on the map of your destiny. And as you look at the horizon, something about June 1st feels different. A vibration in the air, a shift in your soul, a pull that cannot be explained by logic. This isn't about superstition or coincidence. This is a cosmic appointment. If you've been feeling the tension, the build-up, the quiet whispers of something greater calling your name, you're not imagining it. You are being aligned for something pivotal. And June 1st could be the very moment it all begins to unfold. The time to prepare your heart is now. The universe is syncing with your rhythm. Before we begin, I ask you to stay with me until the end of this message, because there's something powerful building in the unseen, and it needs your awareness. If this resonates with you on any level, write 99 in the comments and leave your warmest wishes for someone else watching this. This isn't just a video, it's a collective signal, a moment to pour energy into the wishes of others and activate the field of blessings. Once you do that, let's go deep into what June 1st might truly represent. What if I told you June 1st isn't just a day on a calendar, but a coded moment that marks the release of long-stored energy? A silent countdown has been ticking for months, maybe years, and the final tick could echo through your life as this new month begins. All of the delays, the unanswered questions, the waiting, the breakdowns that didn't make sense, everything might come into view under the light of this very date. Not because the day is magical, but because you are ready now, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. This isn't about luck, it's about alignment. You've walked through seasons that tried to break you, strip you, silence you. But the silence was a strategy. The delays were divine. And now, June 1st could signal not a beginning from scratch, but a continuation of a story that never really stopped. It just paused while the world caught up to your vibration. The energy you've been cultivating, the resilience you've earned, the prayers you've whispered in private, they are not in vain. This is not a prediction. This is a warning to be ready. And readiness isn't about frantic movement. It's not about scrambling to fix everything or force your will. Readiness is about stillness, about having the eyes to see what's really unfolding. It's about slowing down enough to notice the door that wasn't there yesterday, suddenly creaking open. It's about listening, not with your ears, but with your spirit. Can you hear it? The hush before a storm that isn't meant to destroy you, but to wash you clean. You may have thought the silence was a sign of absence, but it was presence in disguise. Something has been forming on your behalf behind the veil, something precise, exact, and undeniable. That moment may not come with fireworks. It may come in a soft realization, a random phone call, a dream, a choice, but it will carry weight. And if you're sensitive enough to recognize it, you'll understand that June 1st was circled on the calendar of your soul long before you knew why. And here's the part no one tells you. Not everyone will understand what's happening. Some people will see June 1st as just another day. Others will scoff at your certainty. But don't be distracted. When it's your time, you don't need consensus. You need courage. You need to listen to what most people ignore. Because destiny doesn't announce itself through a megaphone. It whispers in the patterns, the signs, the timing, the inner knowing that can't be logically explained. You may feel like nothing is changing right now, but what if everything is rearranging silently beneath the surface? What if the connections are forming, the pieces are aligning, the gates are unlocking? You've been doing the inner work, shedding the old skin, letting go of what can't come with you into this next season. That was the prerequisite. That was the price. Now all that energy is about to find its expression. Don't minimize this inner pull. Don't brush it off. Don't second-guess what your spirit is shouting. You're not being dramatic. You're being prepared. Because the level of breakthrough that June 1st could bring requires a higher version of you, one that's watching closely, trusting deeply, and saying yes to the unfamiliar without waiting for proof. What if the doors don't open for you until you stop checking the clock? What if the shift happens when you stop chasing and start resting in, the knowing that it's already yours? June 1st could be the signal that activates everything you've already been promised. That moment when the spiritual becomes physical. That day when the internal transformation becomes an external reality. And maybe you've been waiting for confirmation, a sign, a reason to keep believing. Let this be it. Let these words be the whisper behind the curtain that reminds you. You're not waiting in vain. You're being aligned. You're being timed. You're being positioned for precision. Stay in this energy. Protect it. Don't let fear, distraction, or impatience pull you out of it. The old version of you would panic, would doubt, would sabotage. But this version watches, listens, moves with wisdom, waits with peace, trusts without needing details. You don't need to know how it will happen. You just need to know it's close. And June 1st, it might just be the day that confirms everything you've ever suspected about who you are, why you're here, and what's finally unfolding. You've been hearing the whispers. They come in the quiet moments, in between breaths, when everything else fades. Something inside you has been stirring, an anticipation you can't quite name. That's not anxiety. That's not fear. That's your future echoing back to you. It's your spirit receiving early access to what your reality hasn't caught up to yet. June 1st isn't magic because it changes everything. It's magic because you're finally able to see everything differently. You're being shown what you're ready to receive. You don't stumble into elevation by accident. You grow into it. This month won't hand you blessings if you're still operating from the frequency of survival. This shift isn't a reward. It's a reflection. It mirrors the work you've done in secret, the strength you've gained in silence, the faith you've nurtured when there was nothing left but your own breath and belief. People will look at you and only see the moment of breakthrough. They won't see the buried battles, the sleepless nights, the unanswered prayers that made you question everything. But those things mattered. They shaped the fire in your bones. They purified your path. They made you immune to shallow victories and temporary validation. They trained you to hear deeper and move wiser. That's why June 1st matters. Because now you know how to receive properly. There was a version of you that would have wasted the blessing, that would have needed approval, that would have shrunk to make others comfortable. But that version has been slowly dissolving. You've felt it. The way you've outgrown old circles, outlasted old storms, and outlived old limitations. There's no going back. That life no longer fits your frequency. You're vibrating too high to tolerate what once seduced you. And that's the sign of true preparation, not desperation for a miracle, but discipline in your spirit. June 1st might be the moment you recognize You're not chasing anything anymore. You're attracting what's aligned. You're not knocking on locked doors. You're walking through the ones you built from within. You're not proving yourself. You're remembering yourself. This isn't about working harder. It's about becoming clearer. Because what's coming doesn't respond to hustle. It responds to identity. This is a sacred season. It requires sacred vision. You can't bring everyone with you. You can't carry old fears into new dimensions. You can't keep replaying betrayals while trying to manifest blessings. This elevation demands space, and that space comes from surrender. Not giving up, giving over. Giving over your need to control, your obsession with when, your addiction to certainty. This is about becoming magnetic to miracles, not by force, but by flow. Look at your life right now. What's fading is not a loss, it's a clearing. The delay is not punishment, it's precision. The silence is not abandonment, it's alignment. You are not behind. You are right on time. And you'll realize that soon enough. On June 1st, maybe nothing outward will happen in an obvious way, but your spirit will know. You'll feel it. That subtle shift in energy, that internal click that tells you the gears of destiny are turning in your favor. That's not wishful thinking. That's divine timing whispering now. You've walked through too much to treat this lightly. You've outlived battles that were supposed to break you. And instead of breaking, you built. You constructed inner temples. You cultivated silence into strength. You turned loneliness into power. And now, those foundations are strong enough to hold the blessing you've been waiting for. Nothing was wasted. Not one tear, not one heartbreak, not one unanswered cry in the dark. It was all currency. And now it's time for the return on investment. There are forces watching you right now. Not just people, but energy, spirit, favor, all standing by, waiting for your signal. And that signal isn't desperation, it's clarity. The moment you become unavailable to anything beneath your calling, the moment the universe aligns, not before. The door isn't locked, it's waiting for the right hands, and those hands are yours. This is a holy hush, a divine pause. Before a wave comes in, the ocean pulls back. Things go still, things disappear. It looks like loss, but it's only the preparation for the surge. June 1st might be that surge. Not all at once, but in a way that will ripple into every area of your life. You might look back and say, "That's the day I woke up different. That's the day my soul stretched. That's the day my future whispered loud enough to drown out my past." This doesn't mean everything will be easy, but it will be aligned, and alignment is better than ease. Because when you're aligned, doors open without begging. People show up without forcing. Blessings arrive without performance. Life starts to feel like it's happening with you, not to you. And that's the gift of this moment. So don't ignore the signs. Don't silence your knowing. Don't talk yourself out of what your spirit has already confirmed. Even if no one else understands, even if nothing in the physical has shifted yet, you're already becoming. The frequency has changed. The codes are unlocking. The atmosphere is ripe. You are in the final phase of preparation, and your posture in these hours will determine the power of the next season. The future isn't waiting on a date. It's waiting on your agreement. June 1st might be the date where you finally say, "I'm ready," fully, deeply, fearlessly, not just with words, but with energy. And when you do, get ready for the shift to announce itself in ways that will leave no doubt. The countdown isn't about seconds ticking away on a clock. It's about frequencies falling into place. When people talk about divine timing, they often miss the truth. It's not about waiting passively. It's about synchronizing. And you've been doing just that, maybe without even realizing it. Every tear you shed in silence, every time you walked away instead of reacting, every time you chose faith when fear was louder, it was all part of the sync, a vibration calibration, a reset of your inner frequency to match the very moment that is almost here. June 1st isn't just a cosmic date, it could be the stamp of completion. Not the end, but the confirmation, the turning point that affirms what you've carried in your soul for far too long. You didn't come this far for a halfway breakthrough. You didn't survive all those closed doors just to sit outside your own calling. You are here to enter, to claim, to embody. Don't mistake the calmness before June 1st as a lack of movement. That's divine intelligence. Before the launch, there's silence. Before destiny knocks, it observes. Before the miracle touches earth, it requires a soul that's listening beyond logic. And if you're reading this and nodding quietly in your spirit, that's your confirmation. You hear it too. The sacred stillness before the unveiling. The quiet invitation to get ready, not for a show, but for a shift. And that shift doesn't always show up dressed as glory. Sometimes it looks like letting go. Sometimes it looks like rest. Sometimes it looks like grief that won't make sense until later. But it's all part of it. Because to step into what's next, you need both hands free. You cannot cling to the old and still hold the new. You have to choose. And June 1st could be the spiritual crossroad where that choice is no longer delayed. There's a weight to this moment, but not the weight that crushes. It's the weight of glory, the invisible substance that proves something divine is near. And the people who've been sensing it, they're not crazy, they're called. And being called isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it's isolating, sometimes it's quiet, but it is always divine, and it always leads to elevation. You've been elevated in the dark. While others sought spotlight, you sought silence. While others were chasing recognition, you were chasing refinement. You didn't need applause, you needed alignment. And now, it's your time. Not because someone is handing it to you, but because your spirit is demanding it. The energy you've cultivated cannot be denied anymore. The frequency you walk in now requires new scenery, new relationships, new opportunities. The old dimension is no longer enough. You outgrew it. And that's why June 1st could be the signal. Not a random start, but a destined reveal. The moment where the curtain lifts, not because you're performing, but because you're finally seen for who you are in full essence. You don't need validation. You don't need permission. What you need is presence. The kind of presence that roots you, centers you, sharpens your awareness to notice the shift before others can even sense it. There's something magnetic about you right now. Your aura is carrying codes. Your presence is unlocking doors. People may not know why they feel different around you, but you do. You've been transmuting pain into power. You've been taking spiritual notes while the world was distracted. You've become fluent in the language of alignment. And now, everything around you has no choice but to respond. You won't need to push. You won't need to explain. You won't even need to announce. The energy will speak for you. Your glow will reveal what you've been through. Your peace will make noise in the loudest rooms. Your next move won't require a plan. It will require permission from within. And on June 1st, the permission could be fully granted. It's no longer about being chosen by others. It's about accepting that you've already been chosen by the divine. Your life has already been marked for impact. The very fact that you're still standing after everything you've been through is proof enough. You were never meant to live an ordinary life. That's why ordinary things couldn't hold you. That's why superficial distractions never satisfied you. That's why shallow environments made you feel heavy. You were wired for the deep end, for the rare, for the sacred. And that's what this moment represents. Not a typical opportunity, but a sacred threshold, one you can only cross if you release what cannot come with you. Fear, doubt, the need to control, the temptation to shrink. June 1st isn't demanding perfection, it's asking for honesty. Will you say yes, even if you don't see it yet? Will you trust the wind, even if you can't predict the destination? The shift will not wait for your comfort. It will not consult your timeline. It will not ask if you feel ready. It's already unfolding, and your only job is to step into agreement. Let this be the moment you stop hesitating, the moment you stop rehearsing pain, the moment you stop playing small. You are the one. You are the sign. You are the prophecy unfolding in real time. This is what alignment feels like. Not chaos, not confusion, but deep, sacred clarity that doesn't need noise to be powerful. You'll recognize it not because of what happens around you, but because of what happens within you. Peace like a river, certainty without answers, joy without reason. That's how you'll know it's close. So if you feel like something is about to happen, it is. If you feel like you're being drawn toward a silent doorway, it's real. If you feel like June 1st could be the beginning of something cosmic, it might be more than you know. Trust it, follow it, honor it. You weren't brought this far to be abandoned. You were positioned for the precise moment everything finally aligns. You're walking into a portal, not the kind that opens with sound and spectacle, but the kind only those with spiritual eyes can recognize. The world might seem unchanged on the surface, but you will know when it happens. It may be a feeling deep in your chest, a knowing that vibrates through your bones. It will feel like remembering something you never consciously learned. That's what happens when the soul arrives at the exact place it was always destined to meet. It doesn't need to be taught, it just wakes up. And that awakening, it's not loud, it's not announced, it's private, deep, raw. It often happens in a moment when you're doing something ordinary, walking, breathing, sitting alone, and suddenly the veil lifts. You feel your purpose stretching inside of you. Your past aligns itself behind you like a trail of divine footprints. And the future no longer looks distant. It looks familiar, like home. June 1st could be the day your soul finally remembers the coordinates. Don't expect thunder. Don't look for lightning. This kind of shift doesn't need theatrics. It needs stillness. It needs your undivided attention, not to the world around you, but to the voice within you. That voice you've silenced so many times out of fear or logic. That whisper that always knew. The one that told you to keep going when there was no sign. The one that didn't stop even when you were surrounded by doubt. That voice will be louder than ever now. You might feel like the days leading to June 1st are stretching longer than usual. Like something is being suspended in the air, like you're floating in a space between chapters. That's because you are. This is a threshold. You are neither who you were nor fully who you are becoming. And that tension is sacred. It's a sacred womb, a gestation space for the version of you that will be fully born under the light of this shift. That's why you've been tired, yet can't sleep. Emotional, yet clear-headed. Detached, yet aware. These are signs of transition. They are not dysfunction. They are not problems. They are proof that the old self is collapsing to make room for the emerging frequency. You are being upgraded. And like any system that's being rewritten, there will be glitches, temporary pauses, strange emotions. Let them pass through. Don't attach. Don't resist. Just observe and allow. Because everything is preparing you. Conversations you didn't expect. People you're being drawn to. People you're being pushed away from. Ideas that won't let you go. Visions that keep returning in your dreams. This is not noise. This is navigation. The universe speaks in symbols, and it's speaking to you constantly now. It's up to you to pay attention. And the biggest shift won't be what happens to you. It will be what activates within you. That moment when you look at a situation and respond with grace instead of fear. When you feel rejection and don't take it personally. When you walk away from chaos, not because you're defeated, but because you're evolving. These are the marks of someone who has entered a new timeline. Someone who no longer needs the world to confirm what their soul already knows. You'll begin to notice how light everything feels, not because the weight has disappeared, but because your spirit has grown stronger than the pressure. The old triggers don't pull you down like they used to. The old questions don't torment you, and the need to be understood dissolves. You've made peace with the fact that your path is yours alone. That's the kind of spiritual maturity June 1st could activate. Not a prize, but a posture, a way of existing that moves in harmony with divine intention. And you won't need to shout your transformation. The energy will speak. People will feel something different about you, even if they can't name it. They'll notice your pace, your presence, your power. Not the kind that controls, but the kind that simply is. You won't be trying to become, you will simply be. And in that being, you'll attract everything meant for you, almost effortlessly. Because when you reach this level of spiritual alignment, your timeline accelerates. The things that once took years begin to take days. The people you've been meant to meet begin to appear in the most unexpected ways. The resources show up without you having to chase. You become a beacon, a gravitational force, not because of what you do, but because of what you embody. That's why you've been pulled into isolation, not to punish you, but to protect the incubation. You weren't being hidden to be forgotten. You were being hidden to be formed. The caterpillar doesn't crawl into a cocoon to rest. It enters to transform. And it cannot carry the old identity into the new dimension. Neither can you. So if it's been quiet, trust that. If you felt disconnected from what once excited you, let it go. If certain relationships feel distant, bless them and release them. Because all of this is clearing the way. June 1st may be the day it all clicks. Not externally, internally. And once it clicks on the inside, the outside must follow. This is not a season for begging, not for pushing, not for forcing. This is a season for allowing, for receiving, for embodying the version of you that no longer negotiates with fear, that no longer second-guesses what was whispered in the dark, that no longer looks for confirmation from people who were never meant to see your light. You've crossed too many valleys to turn back now. You've bled too much wisdom to waste it on the opinions of the unaware. And the shift that's arriving for you, it doesn't need hype. It needs reverence. It needs your undivided surrender. The kind that doesn't need answers. The kind that simply says, I'm ready. Everything you've lived through has been pointing here. The detours, the heartbreaks, the inner battles that no one saw. They were not delays. They were design. They were the architects of your soul. And now, you're standing at the edge of realization. Not the kind you read about, but the kind you become. This isn't theory anymore. It's embodiment. It's truth lived out loud. You're being called into a version of yourself that doesn't flinch when things shift. You've learned to adapt, not from weakness, but from wisdom. You've learned to listen, not with panic, but with peace. And June 1st could be the moment where all of this internal transformation begins to manifest in your external world. Slowly, powerfully, irrevocably. You're not waiting for a sign anymore. You are the sign. You've become the evidence that faith builds, that pain purifies, that silence sharpens, that healing doesn't always look like joy. It looks like power reclaimed from the fire. And now, you walk differently. You don't carry yourself like someone unsure. You walk like someone who knows their name is known in realms beyond this one. What's arriving for you will not be delayed any longer. Not because time has finally caught up, but because you have. You've done the real work, the kind that can't be posted, the kind that has no audience, the kind that happens when no one is watching. And it shows in your stillness, in your peace, in your refusal to settle. June 1st might not bring loud events, but it will bring a loud knowing, a bold inner confirmation that you've crossed into a new realm of authority, where you no longer plead for change, you command it, where you don't chase validation, you embody it, where your presence alone realigns every room you walk into. You are no longer just someone with potential, you are a carrier of divine execution. And this energy won't let you play small anymore. It won't let you apologize for your presence. It won't let you shrink to keep others comfortable. That's why your spirit has been uncomfortable lately. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you've outgrown the room you've been surviving in. The cage is cracking, not because you pushed, but because you're radiating too brightly to be contained. Everything is energy, and energy doesn't lie. That's why some people pull away from you now. They can feel the shift before they can name it. That's why old habits suddenly feel suffocating. Why environments you once tolerated now feel hollow. Because your frequency has shifted. And the things not meant to walk with you into this new dimension can't keep up. You don't need to force this. You don't need to announce this. Just be. The vibration will carry your name into rooms you haven't walked into yet. The alignment will send messages to the universe on your behalf. The portal is open now. Not out there, but within. You're not waiting for an invitation. You are the invitation. That's why you felt the urgency, the pull, the ache. Not to do more, but to become more. Because something inside you knows that June 1st could be the seal, the divine stamp that marks the beginning of your fully expressed era. Not the version of you that was tolerable, not the one that was pleasing, but the one that is true. And the truth of you is magnetic. It's healing. It's disruptive. It shifts the air. It calls people home to themselves. That's why it took so long. That's why the preparation felt like a lifetime. Because what you're carrying isn't just for you. It's for a frequency of souls who need your existence to confirm theirs. You are the sound of answered prayers, the result of unrelenting grace, the testimony that power grows in the dark. And June 1st might be the day the world finally begins to see what your soul has always known. You won't have to prove anything. You won't have to beg. What's meant for you will feel natural, because it's not being forced into place, it's being revealed. The veil is thinning, the path is clearing, and all you need to do is remain in the knowing that you are no longer chasing timing. You are the timing. Let the rest fall away. Let the noise fade. Let the doubt dissolve. It no longer belongs. You have entered the realm of certainty, not because of external validation, but because of spiritual confirmation. The kind that tells you you've arrived. And even if June 1st passes quietly, don't be fooled. The shift has already begun. You're in it. Not unless you're aligned. Not unless you're conscious. Not unless you're ready. Because what's moving on June 1st is not casual energy. It's not lightweight. It's not the kind of shift that simply brushes by and leaves you untouched. This is a full atmospheric rearrangement. And if you're uncentered, if you're unfocused, if you're caught in distraction, you might miss the assignment that's been scheduled specifically for you. Don't go outside unless your spirit is anchored, because June 1st will not tolerate chaos. It will not wait for hesitation. It will pass through the places and people who are not awake, and they will not know what came and left. But you, chosen one, you've been stirred for this. You've been warned for this. The countdown hasn't been on the calendar, it's been in your spirit. On June 1st, something will pass by your timeline like a silent train. No whistle, no fanfare, just speed and precision. And only those waiting at the right platform, eyes wide, hearts open, spirits still, will board. The rest? They'll wonder why everything feels different afterward, but won't be able to explain it. Don't be one of them. Do not step outside in a state of spiritual sleep. This isn't the kind of day you wake up and wing it. This is sacred territory, when the heavens align with earth in rare motion, when frequencies become gates, when decisions become signatures. The vibration of June 1st will be intense, sacred, holy. You'll feel it in your bones, in your breath, in the air, and those who are attuned, they'll know. It won't be fear, it will be reverence. It won't be anxiety, it will be awareness. On June 1st, the invisible realm moves more loudly than the physical one. The spiritual atmosphere will pulse with possibility, but it won't tolerate confusion. You either know who you are by now, or the energy will pass by your door. Don't go outside unless you've taken time to get silent, unless you've returned to yourself, unless you've asked, what is mine to receive today? Because some doors open only once, and this might be one of them. One of those rare moments where your entire life pivots, not because you forced it, but because you recognized it. You've been prepared. That's why the battles intensified. That's why the isolation felt endless. That's why your past fell apart. You had to lose the weight before the lift. You had to lose the distractions before the direction. You had to lose your false identities before the real one could emerge. And now, you're clear. Or you're becoming clear. You're in the final phase. So don't sabotage this moment with noise. Don't dull it with fear. Don't go outside, mentally, emotionally, or energetically, unless you are fully dressed in discernment. Because what's passing through on June 1st isn't just an opportunity, it's a test of recognition. Can you recognize the thing you've prayed for when it no longer looks like the version you once imagined? Can you accept the divine orchestration, even if it disrupts your plans? Can you welcome what feels unfamiliar, knowing that it's actually the answer to your deepest longings? This is not a performance. This is a proving ground. And June 1st will separate the pretenders from the prepared, the aware from the asleep, the aligned from the anxious. So stay inside, not just physically, but spiritually. Stay rooted, stay observant. Listen more than you speak. Breathe more than you move. Watch how everything feels. Trust what your body is telling you, because something will shift, and your ability to receive it depends entirely on your posture. June 1st is a portal, not a party. It's not meant to be celebrated blindly. It's meant to be honored, respected, sat with. You are not here to be impressed. You are here to impress upon the atmosphere your readiness, your frequency, your divine signature. That's how the shift will recognize you, not by your voice, but by your vibration. Let the noise fall away. Let the opinions go quiet. Let the calendar fade. This moment is about energy, not time, not noise, not motion. Stillness is your superpower. Watch closely, feel deeply, say little, align entirely. And when the moment arrives, because it will, you will not panic. You will not doubt. You will simply know that this is it. The appointment you couldn't name, the shift you couldn't explain. The day that doesn't just mark time, but alters it. You've made it here for a reason. You didn't survive all that for nothing. You didn't endure the void to be ignored by the shift. You are the reason the shift is happening. Your frequency is a signal. Your stillness is a magnet. Your awareness is the gate key. Don't go outside, chosen one. Not unless your soul is ready to meet what's been calling you home. Because on June 1st, something divine moves through, and it's looking for you.